Good morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
I mean, we're both big believers that people are policy, and that's going to be, in many respects, I think, job number one.
The transition begins. Charlie Baker starts the process of hiring a team and the exchange of power.
You've got no business in politics unless you respect the judgment of the people. If you run for office, you've got to be able to take it either way. I want to walk away with no regrets.
Democrat Jeanne Shaheen keeps her New Hampshire seat, but have we seen the last of Republican Scott Brown?
I am proud that our race has been held up in recent days as a model for how races should be run and how politics should be conducted.
He survived 4 tours in Iraq. Now the North Shore's Seth Moulton heads to a Republican-dominated Washington as the congressman-elect. Fresh from victory, Moulton is our OTR guest this morning. And
looking in the rearview mirror at the results of the 2014 elections, we're asking voters, how do you feel about the results?
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter, Janet Wu. Thank you for joining us on OTR this morning. Prepare for change. On Beacon Hill, on Capitol Hill, November 4th, 2014 proved to be very fruitful for many Republicans, and we will get to that later in the show. But first, a Democrat comes in this morning who came out on top in a big way. Seth Moulton, the congressman-elect of the 6th Congressional District, is with us this morning. And who was the first one to call you congressman-elect? Who was the first one?
Senator Warren was one of the very first to call.
What did she say?
She said congratulations. She knows that I worked hard, that I fought hard, and she's looking forward to working with me in Washington.
So you're walking into a Republican-dominated Congress as a freshman Democrat with no seniority. How do you carve out an agenda that has any chance of passing at this particular point in time?
Well, it's tough. But I think one thing I will do is try to work on veterans health care. It's something I've been talking about throughout this campaign. I get my health care from the VA, so I know that the system is broken. And it's certainly an issue that people on both sides of the aisle agree we need to fix. So I think it's a place where I can find common ground. And it's also a place where, at a time when we've never had fewer veterans in Congress in our nation's history, I can have some credibility, even as a freshman in a minority party.
So let's drill down to that a little bit. I mean, you're not only a freshman in Congress, you are in the minority party in Congress. So how difficult that would seem to be an uphill climb, sir, may I say? No? So how can you bring home the bacon for your constituents?
Absolutely. It's hard to do. But there's 2 things. I mean, first of all, you have to find an issue at the federal level where you think you can find some common ground with the Republicans, where you can have some credibility. And I think veterans health care, for me, is probably that issue. But at the local level, what we really need to do in the 6th district is bring jobs, economic development. It's innovative jobs to the district. Now, it means different things in different parts of the district. I think we need to attract innovative businesses growing out of Boston to the city of Lynn. Up in Gloucester, it's a question of reforming fishing regulations to better satisfy the needs of both the fishermen and the environmentalists who all want a sustainable fishery. But those are things that I can work on not just through the legislative process, but by being a leader in the district.
It was a bad year for just about every other Democrat that ran for Congress across the country, especially those in the southern states. Was President Obama the problem in this election outside of Massachusetts?
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of frustration with the president, but I think that, you know, he's trying to do the best that he can in the face of a tremendous amount of opposition. I mean, how difficult is it to succeed when you have the leader of the opposition party saying that his #1 goal is to make sure you're not reelected? I mean, that's the situation that President Obama has faced, and I think, you know, on both sides of the aisle, there's been an awful lot of acrimonious debate rather than rolling up our sleeves and getting things done.
How do you build a relationship with the Republicans in the House that you have never met, that certainly aren't happy about you being elected, and yet you're going to have to ask them for things in order to bring home, as Ed says, the bacon for your constituents?
I think you start by reaching out and being willing to have a conversation with people on the other side of the aisle. You know, one of the things people asked me when I came back from the Marines is they said, Seth, you grew up in Massachusetts, you went to Harvard, you must be a real crazy liberal. And they said, how did your views change when you were in the Marines? Now, I've always seen myself as a, you know, pretty moderate, reasonable guy. And if I go down the list of issues, gun control, women's rights, gay rights, my views haven't changed at all. They've always been in line with the Democratic Party. But the difference is that now I understand the other side better. I mean, growing up in the North Shore, we didn't go shooting on the weekends, right? So I never really understood why people supported the Second Amendment. I've always been a proponent of gun control. I think I'm a stronger proponent of it now that I've seen the effects firsthand of gun violence. But I just didn't understand why people believed in the Second Amendment. Well, now, if an issue on gun control comes up, one of the first people I'll call is one of my best friends from the Marines who grew up in Georgia, went to Princeton, and wrote his thesis in defense of the Second Amendment. Now, he and I don't see eye to eye on these issues, but we can have a reasonable conversation. And with respect for his positions, we're able to find common ground.
You're in an interesting place right now, personally and professionally. I mean, you've been running for Congress for how long?
I mean, it feels like 2 years.
All right, now you're making the transition to serving. Running to serving, and you haven't done it before, so this is new water for you to step
Well,
into.
it is, but I can't tell you how excited I am to return to a job of public service. I went into the Marines because I wanted to serve my country, and I figured I'd just do 4 years and then move on. But after I left, I found that I missed that sense of purpose in my life that came with doing a job that every single day impacted the lives of other people. You know, even in Iraq, even in the midst of a war I disagreed with, my work every single day made a difference in other people's lives, and I'm looking forward to doing that as a public servant in Washington.
I have to ask you this one question. Are you more apprehensive about, were you more apprehensive about going to Iraq, or are you more apprehensive about going to Washington?
Oh, Iraq is far away.
The bullets are real in
Just
Iraq.
for the record.
The
Just
bullets
for
are
the
real
record.
in Iraq. All right, you ready for the OTR pop quiz, Congressman-elect?
Sure.
Wow, called you Congressman-elect. That worked, all right? Okay, you ready? On November 4th, 2014, it will always be a special day for you because that was when ultimately you won the prize you were searching for. First time you won elected office in the final election, the general election. Today's the OTR Pop Quiz focuses on some other political developments that day. Question 1. In the end, by how many votes did Governor-elect Charlie Baker beat Martha Coakley?
I think it was about 40,000.
About 40,000 votes. Question 2. Which state will hold a runoff next month for a U.S. Senate race where neither candidate got 50% of the vote?
Well, I know it's Alaska, Virginia, and Louisiana are undecided. I think it's Louisiana is having the runoff.
Louisiana will have the runoff. That'll be on December 6th. Democrat incumbent Mary Landrieu will face off against the Republican Bill Cassidy. We continue on the record with Congressman-elect Seth Moulton from the 6th. Stay with us.